Hello, Lions Nation, and welcome to another edition of Bleav In Lions. It's brought to you by FanDuel. I'm Trevor Thompson. On the other end of the line, we've got your fan favorite and mine, the star of the show, Glover Quinn. He's back to join us with Jennifer Hammond, two-time Emmy winner, 2023 Michigan Sportscaster of the Year, former president of the Detroit Sports Media Association, a good friend of ours, a good friend of yours, covered the Lions for years from inside
31 years, Trev.
31 years covering the Lions.
It's
wow,
my 31st
that's an
season.
Insider, if there ever was one.
Glover was in middle school when I started covering his team.
Dang, 31.
And tonight you make your first appearance on Bleav In Lions to talk about the Lions and the Browns week 4 at Ford Field. Jen, that's a heck of a run. It's a heck of a run. You covered some tough times along the way.
I need to say thank you to Dan Miller and the folks at Fox 2 who have believed in me and kept me employed all these years, but I must have been doing something right to warrant it. So thank you.
Well, and you know what? You got to this point in time where you actually get to cover a team that is relevant, a team that contends for the Super Bowl right now. That's got to be fun. That's a reward for your 3 decades plus now of working in the trenches with the Detroit Lions. You covered Glover back in the day. You guys have a relationship. We were talking off air. So, Glover, take it over. What's your first thing for Jen here tonight as we look forward to week 4 and with her insights to the show?
Well, I mean, obviously, thank you for joining us, Miss Jennifer. You were so amazing. My time in Detroit, I always enjoyed our interviews and our conversations that we had. But, I mean, I'm just going to keep it general. I mean, you've been there through training camp, preseason. Obviously, you've seen week 1, week 2, now week 3 coming off the big win. What is the vibe around Allen Park right now? You know, coming off of a huge win on national TV. Yeah. What is the vibe like around Allen Park, around the city?
Huge win, right? Statement. It was statement stuff. And I think that that's what the Lions wanted to do going into this. And they made a statement. And one thing that I think we all know about Dan Campbell and the team that is built in his image, because one thing that everybody needs to know, and it's funny because I heard Kevin O'Connell talking the other day on a podcast, and he was saying that he's just trying to figure out what the identity of his team is right now, right? He's getting to know them a little bit. There's been some changes with some of the personnel, and he's trying to figure out what his team is. Dan Campbell is a coach and a man who is the identity of his team. And he goes out and he and Brad Holmes have gotten players. They've amassed this talent and this roster in that image. When you hear culture change and culture shift, and I know that you had a really amazing head coach in Jim Caldwell. And I feel like he had a certain standard and culture that he set. They didn't talk as much about it then. But as much as this organization talks about culture right now, they have a group of guys that all have some kind of chip on their shoulder. I mean, Al-Quadin Muhammad, for instance, a guy who got a game ball after a couple of sacks the other night. I mean, his coming out party was on Monday Night Football, right? Everybody was asking the question, who's going to work alongside Hutch on the other side as soon as Marcus Davenport went down? And here comes AQM, and he just has a bust-out game, gets a game ball, and what he says is, I was sitting on the couch a year ago, and I didn't want to let this opportunity slip away. And that just speaks to the mentality, the culture, the chip. So that was kind of a long-winded way, Glover, to get to the question that you asked me. But the mood this week in Allen Park is we've done nothing, right? We're not going to stop working. Dan Campbell will never let a loss affect him or impact him any further than that night, the next day watching film. Same goes for a win. There was no gloating. I asked him because a lot of people questioned if this was one of the most impressive or one of the biggest wins of the Dan Campbell era under his coaching tenure in Detroit. And this is now season 5. And he just didn't want to go there. He didn't want to entertain it. Jared Goff said it was one of the biggest wins that he kind of remembers, in his time with the Lions. But I think that's mostly because it was so impressive. It was all 3 phases. And they just executed the game plan to sheer perfection. But nobody's resting on their laurels, and they're turning their attention on a short week. And you know how tough that is in the NFL. They're turning their focus right now to Cleveland.
And see, and that's one of the things that I kind of want to talk about from as being a player. And the other day, I call the Lions a mature football team. I said they look like a mature football team on Monday night. And to me, what that entails is it's okay, in my opinion, to say that every game is important, right? We obviously know that this is grown man football. But it's also okay to say that some games are just, we consider them big games. When you play against another team, Super Bowl contender type team, on national TV, Monday Night Football, that is considered a big game. Yes, it only counts as one win on the win column, but it's a big game. Now, mature football teams, they know how to get up for those games, play those games, execute at a high level like the Lions did, and win the game, because that's what we were expecting to do, right?
Yeah.
But now we also know how to come back and go to work and get ready for a Cleveland game that on paper is not as going to be as a big of a game as the Baltimore game. But it's going to show the maturity of this football team to be able to come back, go back to work, show up Sunday at 1:00 and get another win against a team that just beat the team that beat you guys.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the sign of a mature football team. And I saw it on Monday night, and I'm looking forward to seeing it throughout this week as they put that win behind them, because that's what they expected to do, and prepare for Cleveland and go out and take care of business. Because if they don't win on Sunday, this is just like rolling a gutter ball after a strike.
Yeah,
right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
Love
like
the bowling analogy.
Yes. What is it with NFL players and bowling?
I mean, we bowl all
Over
the
the decades, I've done a lot of features with NFL players bowling, and I can think of a guy from every single locker room, every single generation of the teams I've covered that was a bowler.
Well, see, the thing about bowling is it's the thing that you can do to compete without having to play golf, without having to play basketball, without having to play baseball. You can go and
getting
bowl.
injured without getting injured during season.
It's indoors. It's fun. You generally got games on, and you can, you can gamble or bet. You can have fun. Just bowling. Shooting the breeze. So that's why we bowl.
Calvin Johnson's a good bowler, right?
Yeah, a lot of guys are.
Yeah, Roy Williams was a great bowler in the day. Sorry, I digress.
Are you GQ? Real quick, are you a good bowler?
Oh yeah. I can bowl.
Yeah. All right. I'm terrible. I'm like a 110 average. My golf score is like my bowling score.
I love it.
Right, double bogey.
I love it.
I'm a double bogey bowler.
That's awesome. But you talk about that being a mature game for the Lions, Glover. Wouldn't you say the same thing holds true for the Browns with that win that they had? That they're trying to mature too. They're trying to be a team that they're resilient. They're going to dig in. They're going to be tough every week. They're going to try to get you to play their game, which is going to be a low-scoring game. That's what they're going to try to come away with. Wouldn't you say they're going to try to do the same things the Lions are, back up that win with another one and show that kind of maturity?
I would definitely think that that's what they're going to try to do. Last week they beat Green Bay, and I don't know if Green Bay took them lightly, but just a few highlights and plays that I saw, Cleveland leaned on what they do best, and that's play defense. Myles Garrett was all over the place. They got guys all over the defense. That's the strong point of that team. And as long as Joe Flacco or whoever's playing quarterback is not turning the ball over, they can keep the game. I mean, what was the score? 13 points. I think it had 10 points or 17 somewhere in there. Right. Like if they can keep the game in that range right there, it could go either way. It could be a special teams play that make the difference if they can keep the game that low. So the Lions got to go out and play the offense that they've been playing and get up in the 25 and 30 points. And I don't know if Cleveland can score that much.
Well, FanDuel has the Lions giving 8.5 coming into this, Glover. And if you want to talk about the FanDuel over/under, right now it's that. What's that, Jen?
I just hate spreads like that. I have to pick the games on Sunday. I hate those big spreads.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, the over-under set at 45.5. You're talking about a team in the Lions that put up 51 points 2 weeks ago and 38 points this week, and the over-under set at 45.5. So they're thinking that the Browns' defense is going to have an impact on this game. What are your guys' thoughts when you hear those kind of numbers?
That's a really low number.
Let's take a rip.
Right? That's a low number. So I think I would take the Browns getting 8.5 just because I do that. I like to do that when it's a big old number like that. But at the same time, I don't think that they'll hit that under. Boy, I was thinking that this score may be something like 27-21.
And see, I'm different because I'm a player. I said that already. I'm a player, and it's very difficult for me on the media side because I'm a player.
So what do you think?
I'm taking the Lions plus 8.5. Why? Because they are a mature football team. They're gonna back up one. They're gonna back up one great performance with another one. They were beating Baltimore. They were up 14 at the end of the game, and Baltimore get a late touchdown. So yes, Cleveland's defense is probably better than Baltimore's, but the Lions are at home, baby.
I know that, and they're very good at home.
Right,
their scoring average at home is
40.
Yeah,
we're going to score 40. So you're going on the over on the.
I'm going to over. I'm going to 8.5. I'm taking the Lions.
Well, I took the over. I took the over too. To be clear.
Yes. I'm going with the Lions.
Then that brings us to another point. And Glover talked about the maturity of this team and how they grew up on Monday night against Baltimore. I think we really saw that on the interior of that offensive line. They allowed the run game to get going, and they opened up everything, and they really, really did protect Jared Goff. Wasn't sacked all night long, kept him clean. He was able to put up the numbers he put up. What impresses you about the way that they've grown week over week when you look at Tate Ratledge and Christian Mahogany on the other side and Graham Glasgow in the middle and that interior offensive line? What impresses you about them and the sustainability of that going forward, in your opinion, is what?
Well, just the word you use, sustainability. I mean, the fact that they went into Green Bay and it looked as bad as it did on both sides of the line of scrimmage, right? Offense and defense, both sides looked to be in total disarray. And for them to clean that up so efficiently against Chicago, and then everyone was looking at this game against Baltimore, right? Going in saying, we're going to get an idea. Are they more like the team that lost in Green Bay or the team that beat Chicago? And it turns out, guess what? They're a juggernaut. They're even better than the team that beat Chicago because clearly Baltimore is a much more hostile environment to play in. They beat Chicago at home. The whooping that they put on that offensive line, I mean, the 7 sacks is unparalleled. I've never seen a Lions defense get after another quarterback like that. I don't even know if that's the most sacks in the Dan Campbell era, but I mean, it was really incredible the way they played. And I'm just impressed that they've sustained this and grown from it. And the offensive line, to your point, Trev, I think will just keep on getting better. And the way that they use their running backs, I mean, to watch what John Morton did with that offense. And typically, you know, my favorite thing about, I think, their offense is that you've got Sonic and Knuckles, Montgomery and Gibbs. And most people assume that it's going to be like a thunder and lightning thing, right? One guy's the slash, the juke, the fast speedster. The other guy runs between the tackles and is physical and gets those grungy, grimy yards for a first down. Guess what? They've got 2 that can do both. I mean, we saw Demo with breakaway speed that was incredible on Monday. I was like, wait a minute, is that Gibbs? I mean, these guys, both guys do it all. And Gibbs can run between the tackles. After contact, he's getting 2, 3, those really hard yards, those third down yards. I mean, this team is pretty darn impressive right now. And I think that they will only get better because Campbell said it again on Tuesday. He said, we just want to keep playing better and playing our best football by November, December, January.
Well, Jen, you talked a lot about the identity of this football team with what you're talking about right there. And Glover and I have talked about it before, the importance of the identity on the field. But for the rest of us, our importance of our identity can't be measured off the field, especially when it comes to being online. And Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everybody vulnerable. We do know this. Data brokers can make a profit off of your data. Your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, harassment, but now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. The New York Times Wirecutter has named Delete Me their top pick for data removal services. And as someone with an online presence, like all of us are right now, we're subject to identity theft, harassment, doxing, and if it hasn't happened to us, we probably do know someone that it has happened to. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners, you get 20% off a Delete Me plan when you join deleteme.com/pro. Use the promo code PRO at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to join deleteme.com/pro and enter the promo code PRO at checkout. That's join deleteme.com/pro, code PRO.
I need that.
We all need it. We all need it. It's no joke. That's a really serious thing right now, especially with AI. You can't believe anything you see.
Dude, I just got my third bank card in the last 2 weeks because information has been hacked, and
no, that's a pain.
That's a pain.
But,
anyway,
but this idea that we get back to this identity of the Lions on the field, and Glover has talked about it as well, how it does embody what Dan Campbell's trying to do. And when you look at what Dan Campbell's doing right now, Jen, what impresses you most about the fact that he loses his two coordinators in the offseason, gets Kelvin Shepard and John Morton to step in, and last week these guys look like geniuses. The chemistry they're developing together, what are you seeing in that area?
Well, you've met him, Glover. You know Dan Campbell. The onions on this guy, and as tough as he is, he won't tell you. But I think that he's got a little axe to grind with all the people on the outside that believed that it was only Ben Johnson, right? This is Dan Campbell's offense. And he's not going to stand up and say it. He's going to show you that it's his offense. And I think I love that about him. He's authentic, and he lives and walks that steady line, and he's a no BS guy. And I know, and Glover, you could probably speak to this so well as a former player. You know when you're being, worked over by a coach, when somebody's telling you something that isn't really, there's not authenticity behind it and whatever, and you don't trust or know. Dan Campbell is just number one of all the coaches I have covered. I mean, you can say anything to that dude and he'll hear you out, and then he'll let you know, and then you'll move on. If you tick him off, he'll still get over it and be fine. And if he likes you, he'll let you know. I mean, he's a great human. He's a great coach.
Yeah, I mean, that comes from, like we said, it's been his 5th year here, right? So he's been in the trenches with his guys. That's what I like to call it, being in the trenches. I tell my kids that all the time. I want to be in the trenches with you guys. And if you remember earlier when he first got there, you saw and they had posts of him. He's out there doing conditioning with the guys. He's doing up downs with the guys, right? He's building that relationship to where you can have that presence with your guys. That's how you build the trust. That's how you build that with your guys. I was there with a coach that didn't do those things. And like you said, the way he talked to people, the things that he said, it don't hold as much weight because you don't have that relationship with the players.
Yeah.
They don't buy into what you're saying because you haven't groom the relationship. And so Dan Campbell has done a great job of doing that. And he's gotten the guys to buy into what he's preaching. And now, like you say, the culture, the identity, they all believe it. It's rubbed over to the fans. Like they believe, hey, it's 4th down. We're going for it. Hey, we're doing it. We know Riverboat Dan Big Boss, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Riverboat Dan.
And so, that's just the consistency that he's had, being there with his guys, the culture that he's built, and the guys are playing well, they're responding well, and they're getting guys in there to do exactly what they want them to do, and it looks great. I can't lie, it looks great.
Yeah, it does look great. And it's interesting, to your point, there was a gentleman I was speaking to at the park today. I was at the park with my granddaughter, and he said, wow, and he's from Australia, and he's just in Detroit area temporarily with his family. And he said, this town really gets revved up for these Monday night for these Lions games. I had no idea people were wearing their shirts all over town. He said, I was surprised how many women were wearing Lions shirts on game day. And I said, that is the Dan Campbell effect. It is absolutely very few. I shouldn't say very few. There aren't as many NFL teams that can brand their head coach. And not that the Lions are forcing a brand with Dan Campbell. It's not forced at all. But he is a guy that he is face forward, not in a way that's in your face, but he is so connectable, identifiable, this lunch pail mentality. I mean, he is Detroit, and the whole city is just leaning into Dan Campbell. And part of it is because they're winning. But I think the whole idea of them winning is because of the way that he approaches it. And to your point, the player buy-in, it's really something that's so impressive to watch.
Jen, I'm not sure whether or not the Lions are still looking for help on the edge, but Glover and I talk about this on the show a lot too. Your film is your resume, but in the real
Yeah.
world, employers have tons of resumes that they have to look through. So while they're trying to choose the right candidate, they've got tons to choose from. Well, the future looks bright as far as hiring goes with ZipRecruiter, because their latest tools and features help speed up that process by finding the right people for your roles, and you can save valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/audio. With ZipRecruiter's new advances, you can easily find and connect with qualified candidates in minutes. Over 320,000 new resumes are added to ZipRecruiter monthly, which means you can reach more potential hires and fill roles faster. Use ZipRecruiter and save time. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get quality candidates within the first day. And if you go to ziprecruiter.com/audio right now, you can try it for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And Jen, I'm going to go back to a guy finding a job, and the guy who looks like he deserves the job, Al-Quadin Muhammad, and the way that he played on Monday night. And I don't know whether they're still looking for an edge out there. I don't know whether they're looking for someone on the practice squad to get more depth. What do you know in that area, and what else impresses you about the way this kid's come along given the opportunity?
You know what? And it was interesting because all week long leading up to the Baltimore game, Dan Campbell, Calvin Shepard, they were asked about AQ and would he be getting more opportunities? They said, oh yeah, his opportunities are coming, especially when Davenport went on IR. And not only did he show up, I mean, he is a guy that some people were joking actually in the first half of that game. Maybe they need somebody opposite Al-Quadin because Hutch was a little bit quiet in the first half. But at the same time,
he wasn't in the fourth.
He wasn't in the third and the fourth. But at the same time, too, I mean, you know what? It's a balance. So because Hutch is taking up a lot of the offensive line's attention and defenders, or the offense has to pay attention to him, that's what allows AQ to get in there and other guys to get in there. I think they're going to continue to look, to your question, Trevor. They look all the time. And Brad Holmes says it, and it's not lip service. They're constantly looking to upgrade the resume or upgrade the roster and find guys that can step in and help them, because injuries it's not a question of if, it's when, because injuries happen in this league all the time.
Yeah. And Glover, you talked about this guy in our show when we look back at the Ravens game. We talked a bit about the Browns coming up, Myles Garrett. And that defense of theirs right now, giving up just 200 yards per game, a little over 200 yards per game. That's the best in the NFL so far. He's going to have an impact on this. When we talk about FanDuel, again, if you're talking about just the Lions, the over-under for them is 27.5. Both of you guys think they're going over. But this guy is going to have an impact on the game as far as the Browns are concerned. Glover, if you're on the defensive side in the meetings there, what are they thinking? What's a guy like that going to try to do against Sonic and Knuckles in this air game of the Lions?
Well, I mean, I know Myles Garrett is the guy that obviously makes their defense go. And, you know, from my time in the league, when we always played against a good edge rusher, you know, sitting in the team meetings, the coach would say, we're going to run at him to slow him down, right? So a lot of times you see the run game, they go right at that guy because, you know, the good ones, they'll run plays down from the backside. So if you run away from them, they'll go run the play down. So sometimes you want to run right at those guys. And yes, they're going to make some plays. They're going to jump inside. They're going to make you miss. They're going to stalemate some things. But the goal is to just continue to do that so that when you get in those passing situations, maybe you can slow them down just a little bit. But they're definitely going to have to contain Myles Garrett because he is a one-man wrecking crew. I mean, I was watching some things from the Green Bay game, and it did not look good for the Green Bay offensive line. Now, granted, Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, we're pretty good on the edges. I understand that, but Myles Garrett is a monster. So we're going to make sure we have to have a plan for Myles Garrett. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see, you know, if they come out and just try to run at him. Let's run right at him. You know, double teaming and putting some pressure on him to see if he can hold up against the run game. And then, you know, in the secondary, I mean, I like some of the guys that they got in the secondary. So I'm interested to see how they're going to match up. You know, Denzel Ward, he's an outside guy. He may have to go play the nickel and play on the amon-ra St. Brown because, you know, I don't know how they're going to do that from a matchup standpoint. And so it'd be really interesting. I know Cleveland, you know, they're going to hang their hat on their defense, and they're going to go as their defense go. And so offensively, we're going to have to come out. And if you just look at, in my opinion, if you just look at the 3 games that we've played, you know, when we're aggressive offensively, we play better. I didn't think the first game they were aggressive at all. They didn't take many shots. They didn't really do it. Chicago game, they came out taking shots. They weren't connecting on some of them, but they were taking them, and that started opening things up underneath, right? And in the Ravens game, I thought they came out aggressive, even though they were running the ball. I thought the energy was there. They were aggressive, and so I want to see them come out. You know, we didn't see a lot of Isaac Tesla in the Ravens game because the run game was going. Like, they were running the ball, and they stuck with that. And I like that they stuck with it. They didn't go away from it to appease anybody. Hey, we're going to run. I don't care if we run for 400 yards. You stop us. And I like that mentality. So they still got a plethora of weapons, from Laporta to Jameson to all those guys. And so I don't know whose number is going to get called this week, but whoever it is, they're going to have to be ready to go. And I just don't know if Cleveland can score with the Lions, because the Lions defense, they're doing a good job of holding teams to, points, a few points. They could be better, but they're doing a good job.
Yeah, I think they are doing a good job. And to your point, I mean, they were very good in the second half against Green Bay. I think that they kind of got it figured out. The other thing that's interesting too, you talk about, that you never know who's going to be the guy of the day. It seems like because they have so many weapons. They can hurt you in so many different ways. But also when it comes to that offensive line, they've also got some really great blocking tight ends between Brock Wright and Sam Laporta. I mean, these guys can block. And so I think that they're a load, up front offensively. And I do think that's part of the reason they were able to spring the run game so often and with such consistency, for 200 plus yards against Baltimore, is because everybody was involved in blocking. There was a hat on a hat everywhere. And these runners are really good. I mean, I saw some stuff from David Montgomery that I didn't think, the speed. I mean, yeah, he got run down on that long 72-yarder, but he is there's something. I mean, it is so much fun to watch this team play because it's really entertaining.
And it's just, for me, it's cool. I just want to say, it's just cool to see players develop, because I played against David earlier in his career. He was in Chicago.
Yeah.
And, he definitely looks like a totally different runner. And so it's just cool. He looks like a totally different runner,
Well, what's kind of cool too, GQ, is that the fact that when he was in Chicago and everybody was talking about who was here before, New Orleans running back. God, now I'm blanking on his name.
Jamal Williams.
Yeah, when Jamal Williams was here and everybody was like, oh, why don't we re-sign Jamal? We don't want Demo. And I'm like, are you kidding? David Montgomery is a much shiftier, faster, better runner. I mean, he's built for this team too. I mean, just talk about getting guys in their image. He fits in perfectly. They always find that guy, and their careers elevate here in Detroit. I mean, it's uncanny how they've been able to assemble this roster.
No question.
So the Browns come in, 1 win, 2 losses. The Lions, 2 wins, 1 loss, a huge win on Monday night. This is going to be a good football game. The Browns are going to travel well to Toronto. The Tigers are in Cleveland right now, taking the worst of that matchup with the Guardians. So the fans are going to be involved in this one. There'll be a lot of emotion in the building. Jen, just give me one more thought looking forward to this one, what you're most looking forward to seeing on Sunday.
Well, I'm just looking forward to another home game, especially for the Lions fans after that win in Baltimore, and as well as the fans travel on the road. I mean, it's incredible to see the way that they show out and that you can hear them, right? We heard them on the Monday night telecast. When they're in Ford Field, when that team comes back in after that performance, it's going to be insane. I mean, that's a bananas environment. I've actually got some friends coming in from Chicago who are from Cleveland originally, so they're Browns fans. And I said, yeah, just wait till you hear this crowd. I mean, it's the coolest environment, and I'm so happy for Lions fans that they get to witness this. If you want my prediction on the game, I do think that their defense is going to be tough, and they're going to have to find some ways to mix it up and continue to pound at them. It's not going to be easy. Not that anything's easy in this league, but I think it's going to be a really fun game, and I expect the Lions to win. But I think Cleveland could keep it close.
How about you, Bleav?
Well, to me, I know in the NBA, I think they have these terms that they use at certain times, but this week, this is what I call Separation Sunday. Right.
All right.
The difference. You said the Lions are 2-1. and Cleveland is 1-2. So the difference in 3-1 and 1-3 is humongous.
Yeah.
The difference in 2-2 and 3-1 is huge. So this right here is where those teams that are 3-0, we break the season down into quarters, right? So this is the end. I know they got 17 games right now, but this is the end kind of the first quarter. So these teams that are 3-0, they're pushing to get 4-0, right? They're trying to finish this quarter. If the Lions can get this win and move to 3-1 as opposed to 2-2, huge, huge. So to me, this is separation Sunday. This is separation Sunday. Cleveland, if they can get this win and get to 2-2, they're going to be happy coming out of that quarter, 2-2.
For sure.
And so the Lions have to understand that you got to finish. You have to finish. I know it's not the season. It's the quarter. It's the first quarter of the season, and you got to finish because the difference in 2-2 and 3-1 is huge. So I'm going with the Lions to take care of business because I Bleav that they are a mature football team. They've shown it in the way they bounced back week 1 to week 2. They've shown it how they went on the road in week 3 against a great opponent. And now this right here is the ultimate sign to be able to come back against what the world will perceive as a lesser opponent, and for the Lions to show up prepared, focused, and ready to go and put on a performance. So I'm going with the Lions.
Yeah, like I said, I expect them to win, but there could be a little garbage touchdown at the end. Maybe get that 7.5, 7 and a hook. That hook always gets you, GQ.
It always gets you.
The hook always gets you.
Like a bad beat.
Oh, the voice of experience,
Detroit,
right there.
Glover. Wait, I just need to know, when are we going to see Glover back in Detroit?
Man, you know what? I don't know. I should have came out this week. I mean, I didn't even realize that they had a home game, and I guess I got to look at the schedule and get out there. But I'm definitely getting out there. I missed homecoming last week because I went to the Canelo fight in Crawford in Vegas, so I didn't make it to homecoming. But I'm gonna get out there. I got to come out.
All right.
When I come out, I'll let you know.
Show. We'll get you on our pregame show on Fox 2.
Hey, we'll all go bowling. We'll all go bowling.
Oh, we'll go bowling, right? I'll lose. I'll throw a strike and then a gutter.
I'll tell you what, Jen, you were a winner on the show tonight. You absolutely killed it. Jennifer Hammond, and you're 31 and counting, covering your Detroit Lions, joining us on Bleav In Lions to preview the Lions and the Browns Sunday at Ford Field.
And I'm not retiring. I'm not retiring until they go to the Super Bowl. I'm not.
Well, let's see. Let's get to that Super Bowl. For Glover Quinn, I'm Trevor Thompson. We thank Jen Hammond for joining us on Bleav In Lions, brought to you by FanDuel. We'll see you with our recap of the Lions and Browns after it wraps up on Sunday. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.